Hi,
Love that
Damien.
your name is Jazz. It's the best.
It's a thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Damien's a great name as well.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. I got a lot of Omen jokes growing up, so I'm glad, that was a little hard for me as a kid.
Were they playing the theme as well?
No, it didn't even go that far, but they would check my hair to see if 666 was written.
That's me.
Kids are mean. What did you get as a kid?
I got You've Been Tangoed because my last name is.
Because your last
Tango,
name is, Tango, yeah.
And they have a drink in the UK called Tango.
Oh, they were talking about a drink. I thought you
Yeah.
just meant like the music.
And I
Okay.
was also very short, so they said they used to call me Dungeon Master. Kids are mean.
Kids are the word. They'll find anything, no matter what. Even if your name's John, they'll find a way to make you feel bad about it.
Let's talk about La La Land. And
Yes.
you've been all over the country and the world now with this. What's that like for you when you're seeing at the festivals? We saw it together at the Middleburg Film
Yeah.
Festival.
It's amazing. I mean, I haven't. It's funny. I haven't sat through and watched it with an audience at all at any of these things, except for Venice and Toronto. And we have our premiere tonight, so I'm going to sit through. I'm kind of excited for that. Normally, I can't stand sitting through because I'm terrified of screenings. I'm terrified of audiences. And yet, a movie like this, musicals, I think at their heart are a populist art form. I wanted this to be a movie that played for an audience, that played on a big screen, that you could share with a group of people. I really designed it for that experience. So it's so rewarding to see it, connect to audiences as we've been kind of, taking it out.
And it has connected with audiences. Everybody who sees it, myself included, it's such a happy film. And you're going away, you're singing the songs. Even this morning, I was singing, "We're still a city of stars."
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
And yeah, you had a lot of trouble getting it made. You didn't get the financial backing because they were scared to invest in it. Why was that?
Well, right now in Hollywood, as you know, anything original is a little suspect. It's viewed as like it's like potentially troublesome. It's easier to just do stuff that is based on something we've seen before. So musicals are difficult to get financed, but an original musical was kind of impossible to get financed. And especially one where we weren't going to be farming out the songs to even pre-established composers. I wanted my college roommate Justin Hurwitz to do all the music, and I wanted it to be kind of a single authentic voice that we would sort of develop ourselves. So it took 6 years, to kind of finally get it off the ground. But once we did, it was a dream come true to be able to actually make it real and make it with the people we made it with.
Yeah. And it took 48 days to film in 42 locations.
No, it took.
What did that take?
I forget it was more locations than that in less days. It was 40 days. It was 42 days. It was 40 days and then 2 pickup days. And then it was like 60, 70 locations.
That's a beast of a challenge.
I had to correct you there.
That's a beast of a challenge, Damien.
It was, but the thing is like when it comes to stuff like that, it was a challenge for me, but it was really the biggest challenge was on the crew. I had a beast of an AD who helped kind of, obviously as an AD does, schedule the entire movie and make sure we actually could physically do it. I had an amazing crew, everyone behind the camera, just working day in and day out. And then I had a cast who were willing to do the work. There's no way this movie would have ever worked in whatever time frame without actors who were asking me for more rehearsal time, instead of going, I think I got this. Ryan and Emma were in the studio day in and day out for 3 months, singing, dancing, rehearsing every single day, and Ryan was learning piano for 4 months. So you have to have that kind of commitment. That's what made it possible, yeah.
And you also, the opening sequence, Traffic. I mean, what an opening sequence.
Oh, thanks.
Anybody who lives in LA knows the nightmare, and that's another beast that you took on. Talk about that and how it became this dance number song and dance number that it was.
Well, there have been so many nightmare traffic sequences in movies, that I love. So I wanted to do a kind of a version of that twists it and turns it into something joyful. Try to find the magic. I felt like if you could find the magic in even gridlock traffic on a concrete freeway ramp, in the middle of a heat wave in LA in winter, then because that's so LA, then you can find magic anywhere, you know. So I thought, okay, to do a full love letter to the city about the magic of this place, let's start with a thing that you would least associate with any kind of romance or whimsy or joy, and that was traffic.
What about when you're writing, when you're writing La La Land, what served as some of the inspirations for you?
I think it's a lot of the iconic LA movies, you know, from old Hollywood movies like Sunset Boulevard and Singing in the Rain and A Star is Born, through to Altman movies, Tarantino movies, P.T. Anderson movies, Charles Burnett movies, just, you know, movies that kind of make LA a character. And then the French New Wave, you know, pictures from the 60s, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, Young Girls at Rochefort. Those are some of my favorite musicals. Obviously the MGM musicals, the 40s and 50s. So it was mostly older films.
And Emma has a musical background, she's done Broadway, Ryan hasn't. What did you tell him, coming on board? You said he was in
Yeah, I mean,
piano rehearsals for 4 months.
He's not a musician, but he's musical. Actually, he is a musician in the sense that, he has a band. He plays a variety of instruments. He started off, singing and dancing, really, as a Mouseketeer. But right now, he is an actor. Music is not what he does professionally, but he has music in his bones. So I just kind of knew that if he put in the work, he would be able to do it. It's like once you know someone has that capacity, then you kind of know that the potential is there. But it was also important to me that both with him and Emma, that we hadn't seen them in a musical before on screen. It needed to be something fresh. It needed to feel like, oh, those two are singing and dancing? Oh, well, maybe I can too. It needed to feel very relatable and human, so it wasn't just this removed thing where it's just people we only associate with musicals who do musicals. It had to feel like anyone could do it.
And their chemistry was magical.
Yeah, that's sort of, I can't take credit for that because it's it's like this great special effect that you don't have to engineer on a computer. It's really like just getting to watch that blossom on screen between them. It's just it's magical.
And another number I want to talk about is with the Prius. When they're looking at the Prius, you've got a 6-minute scene, single shot. Talk to me about that scene and getting the lighting.
Yeah, I mean, I had a brilliant cinematographer, Lena Sandgren, who was kind of, taking light readings all day, waiting for the sun to hit just that kind of moment where the sky starts to glow like that. And we shot on celluloid, and you get a certain kind of richness of color with shooting LA sunsets for real on film. So it's not green screen, it's not, digitally faked in post. That's the way the sky looked. And we shot it, but we only had half an hour to shoot it because the sky only looks that way for half an hour. So we squeezed in as many takes as we could of that 6-minute unbroken shot into that half hour, and then we came back the next night, did it again. So we gave ourselves 2 nights knowing that we would need, at least, 8 takes or something. That's probably what we did total, 8 or 9 takes. We used the second take of the second night. But yeah, it was a fun one to shoot.
And what about the conversations that you had with your production designer, David Weiskel, and getting that fantasy look and feel that we have?
Yeah, I mean, he knows LA like the back of his hand, and he's designed some of the iconic LA movies of recent years, like Pulp Fiction and Collateral. And so here, going away from sort of more of a gangster movie world into a romantic world, it was still a somewhat similar thing of taking real LA locations for the most part, and sometimes, often not ones that normally are glamorous, Yes, we shoot at Griffith, but we shoot a lot of stuff in parts of the valley that you wouldn't normally, or parts of Pasadena you wouldn't normally see on film, and making those feel magical, adding little touches, lampposts, painted walls, murals, just making the real locations feel fake. In a way, was actually kind of the fun goal of the movie.
And did you have any logistical problems? I mean, as you said, you shot in Griffith Park, you shot your shooting.
Well, there's always limits when you shoot in real locations. So, shooting Griffith Observatory, they're only closed on Mondays. So we had one day, Monday, to shoot all of that. Shooting real Magic Hour, you only have a half-hour window. So something like the dance number on the hill or Ryan's number on the pier, again, both of those only a half-hour window to shoot. The freeway scene in the beginning, we had to shut down a freeway ramp. We could only shut it down on a Saturday and a Sunday, so we had 2 days to do all of that. So it just, yeah, you have that kind of squeeze and that crunch when you shoot real locations and don't do it on a soundstage, but you get so much in return.
Yeah. What about, it's called La La Land, what are some of your first memories of LA?
I had never been here at all before I moved here. So I moved here right after college, 22 years old, and it was just this city I'd only known through films, and it was really weird and surreal, and palm trees and the big sky. I remember just kind of looking at these things that I didn't associate with cities that I'd lived in or near growing up. And it took me a while to adapt to it, but I just remember that kind of just the imagery of LA feeling very, very dreamlike when I first arrived, and somewhat fake, somewhat divorced from reality.
And here we are.
And here we are, divorced from reality.
So what's next for you? What are you currently working on?
I'm working on a movie about Neil Armstrong, actually sort of a 180, in the sense that it's not music, music heavy, with Ryan.
Because your last two have been music, so there's going to be no music in...
There will be music, but it just won't be, no tap dancing. At least not yet.
Damien, it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you, you too.
It's lovely catching up with
Yeah.
you, talking to you.
Nice seeing you.
About the film. Thank you so much.
We'll see you again.